A Simple Plan is a crime drama that was released in 1998, directed by Sam Raimi.
Yes, it's a story of two brothers and a friend who, one day in the woods, they discover a crashed plane which has a big bag full of money in it. A bit similar to Shallow Grave that we covered
Yeah,
a
a little
couple
bit
of weeks
similar.
ago. And again, it's, what do they do with the money? They decide to keep it, unsurprisingly. But the plan of the title is how they're going to hide it. Basically, the brothers are played by Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton, and the friend of Billy Bob is played by Brent Briscoe. And Billy Bob Thornton's character and Brent Briscoe's character are a bit sort of, I wouldn't say they're rednecks or anything, but they're a bit more relaxed, and they just like drinking and having a laugh. Whereas Bill Paxton, he's got a steady job, and his wife's just about to have a baby, so he wants to be careful. So and he doesn't really trust the other two, so he wants to take care of the money until they know the coast is clear, because when they find it, it's snowing, so that's why the plane is hidden. Basically, they discover it by accident, so he wants to wait until the snow thaws and the plane is found by the police or whoever, and then they'll know if anyone's looking for the money. But as is the norm for any film where there's a bag of money involved, there's mistrust from everyone. Bill Paxton's wife, who's played by Bridget Fonda, he tells her straight away, and she has something to say about it and has some ideas of what they should be doing. So it goes on from there, really. Then the constant mistrust, and they're worried about it getting caught, and run-ins with the police and other people, trying to cover their tracks all the time, and things just escalate as they try and keep everything a secret.
It is actually quite interesting that we did do Shallow Grave a couple of weeks ago, because it's quite interesting to compare the two. Though I remember seeing this years and years ago, and then I forgot about it. And then obviously when we mentioned we were going to do it recently, I thought, is that the film I wasn't so keen on? So I went back and obviously watched it again, and yes, it was.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And that's why actually it's quite interesting comparing it back to Shallow Grave to see the differences and why I like Shallow Grave and not this one. I found this one didn't work for me at all. I found the characters extremely shallow. I found all their decisions completely ludicrous. And as soon as, and without giving anything, I don't think this is okay. I think this is okay to give away because it's right at the beginning of the film. As soon as they, so the very beginning of the film, so right at the beginning of the film, when they first find the money, Bill Paxton's like, no, we're going to hand it in. And then like 5 seconds later, he's like, okay, let's hang on till spring and find out if anyone comes. And straight away, all right, he changed his tune pretty quickly. And then the next day, something else happens, which is quite... I won't say what it is if you haven't seen it, but something happens, which is quite big, and he just kind of like, yeah, all right. And I was just like, well, hang on, that's pretty serious, and you're just like going along with it. And then his wife's like even more into it than he is, and she starts getting quite conniving herself.
Yes.
But I just found them really shallow. But then I'm led to ask the question, well, okay, why did I like the three of them in Shallow Grave? Because they're basically doing the same thing. But in Shallow Grave, it's not really affecting anyone else outside of them. It's just those three, and they're clearly naive. They're a bit young. They're younger. They're naive. They're naive and mischievous, and it's just them in the flat, and no one really else gets affected. In this film, a lot of other people get affected around them, and yes, obviously that's a plot, and that's a plot device. But I just found their reasoning behind it a little, very extremely shallow, and I just found a lot of the things they did just didn't settle well with me.
Well, they're very comfortable with some of the things they do quite quickly, aren't they?
And as soon as they did that, I didn't care about them anymore. And I thought that I thought the performance was really good, and Billy Bob Thornton is excellent. But it's kind of that, he's actually playing someone who's slower. So he's the slower of the two.
I don't know if he really...
Well, sometimes he is and sometimes he isn't.
It's difficult to tell, isn't it?
I mean, he's also quite famous for playing those kind of characters anyway. Yeah. I think he plays a similar character in U-Turn, the Oliver Stone film, and also Sling Blade. I think he's that way in that film. He's kind of known for playing that.
I mean, I think the difference, obviously, with Bill Paxton's character, it's referenced that he went to college, whereas obviously Billy Bob didn't.
He didn't.
So
he's out of
he's
work
got a certain, he acts in a certain way, and they
and he's got the buck tooth, which doesn't
Yeah.
help him, to make
so
it
and the
completely
sellotape
serious.
together glasses and things like that. They do sort of berate Bill Paxton for his education, and and how he's. They take the mickey out of the way he drinks and all sorts of things, and so they already, before this money even comes along, it's obvious that there's already tension between these guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So,
he doesn't. No, exactly. I mean, there are bits in there that I do like. I mean, I do like Sam Raimi. It's a Sam Raimi film. We've already done The Gift. We did recently, which is a good Sam Raimi film.
And we mentioned this during that video. We actually called it
we did.
called it Best Laid Plans, which
That's
is a different film.
Exactly.
But this is the one we were talking about.
Yes.
But it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I think much in the way The Gift doesn't particularly feel like a Sam Raimi film. This one doesn't, even less so. I think it just
no, and also I think maybe that's the other trouble, because of course, so this came out in '98, and it feels a lot like Fargo. I mean, there are obviously the snow, and I think it's filmed in Minnesota, as was Fargo. But this is not Fargo. I mean, for me, Fargo is my favourite Coen Brothers film.
Yeah.
I know you like Big Lebowski, but I guess I'm not comparing it to Fargo, but I mean, obviously there are links to Fargo, and there are links between Raimi and the Coen Brothers. But so for me, it's not trying to be Fargo. I know, but it's not Fargo, and I think that. But obviously, Fargo there is money involved in that film, so
Not
there is
dissimilar,
it's not completely dissimilar. It's not terrible, this film. I thought there's certainly stuff in there, and I did love Billy Bob Thornton's character, and I did feel for him right through the story. I think it was mainly some of their actions just didn't play well with me, and once they've done that, I then lost interest in them. And as soon as that happens in a film, well,
what's the point? Yeah.
What's the point in going ahead?
Put me right off it now.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But you like it.
I like it. Yeah, I can
Before
see.
I said anything.
I can see the points you're making. Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to compare it to Fargo and Shallowgrave, it's not as good as either of those, I don't think. But you got Bill Paxton in there, who's always watchable.
Yeah, definitely.
Gary Cole pops up as well. He's always great.
He was also in The Gift.
Yep, he was. Yeah.
He doesn't say much in this.
He's not in it a great deal.
And the policeman. Who's the policeman? He's
Um,
one of those actors you kind of. I think he was in The Gift as well. Yeah, he was. He plays Katie Holmes' father.
yes, I think you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Maybe that's where I know him from.
yeah. But I mean, this whole genre is not exactly, there's loads of films
There are.
of a similar ilk, because I think this is probably one of the better ones, possibly. There's plenty that are terrible.
Oh, yeah, there are. And also that whole, not just finding money, but the whole kind of mistrust between friends. I mean, I think that is an interesting dynamic, because we all have friends, and we all know what it's like to be friends, and we all know what it's like to maybe trust people and then maybe not trust them. So I think it's always an interesting dynamic of that.
I think that's one of the most interesting elements is the Billy Bob Thornton's character is torn between his brother and his friend. He's got far more in common with his friend, but obviously he feels loyalty to his brother.
Yes.
And there's a lot of tension from that fact.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say I would recommend it because the performances are all great. I mean, they're all watchable actors in general, anyway, and they are watchable in this. It's just, I guess, again, I think it's because apparently this was quite critically acclaimed, this film as well. A lot of people liked it. I don't know why, but no. So obviously they found things in it that they liked, which I haven't found in it personally. That's all that is. It's all.
I mean, I think when it came out, there was, like you say, Fargo wasn't many years before it, so there was sort of an appetite for that kind of film, really, wasn't there?
Snow.
Yeah, snowy films,
Snowy
with crime
films with
elements
crime
in them.
And money. Yeah, exactly.
I think, just going back to the performances, I thought Bridget Fonda was good in it as well. She's not in a huge amount, but she's not just playing the put upon wife, or the sort of she has stuff to
No.
say.
Oh,
She contributes to
definitely.
the plot, and kind of doesn't manipulate him, but she kind of pushes him to do certain things.
Yeah, I mean,
and that don't necessarily work out very well.
It wasn't bad enough for me to turn off.
No.
So I did sit through the whole thing, although I did kind of have to, so I can talk about it for this.
Yes.
But no, I would have watched it all the way through. Yeah. So it's not terrible. I'm not saying it's terrible at all.
No.
That's why I didn't.
It's better.
It didn't sit well with me for certain reasons. But can you see it if you want?
I mean,
to
I
watch it?
haven't seen it on TV or anything for years, and I don't know if it's streaming, but I've got it on DVD. I bought the Region One years ago. Obviously it's available over here as well. I think there is a Blu-ray. I think it was released in Germany a while ago, but there's nothing nowhere else. Not in the US or anything. I mean, it'd be nice. There's no features. It's just a trailer on this. It'd be nice to get a bit of background, behind the scenes info on it. I don't know. It's probably not big enough to get a release.
Yeah.
Don't know if enough people have really heard of it or care about it, but there's certainly other Raimi films that are far more
Sure.
on people's radar. 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, you see, critically acclaimed. What am I missing out that they
don't
found?
know.
I'll have to read their review.
It was
on it.
razor sharp, apparently.
So at the beginning, I actually thought for a second at the beginning of the film when they find a plane, I thought it was going to be a film about. Do you remember that guy D.B. Cooper, the one that I think he took off in a plane with loads of money and then vanished without trace, and he often crops up in films because he's
Not actually him, but
well, not actually him, no. But there's a kind of mythology.
mentioned.
There's a mythology behind him, a little
Yeah.
bit like Lord Lucan is over in this country. He's kind of their kind of American mythological figure that vanished without trace. But it's not about him.
No.
So I don't know why I mentioned that. But yeah. So no, I would say go and check this film out.
would you?
If you like this kind of film,
Yeah.
and haven't seen this kind of film, then go and check.
I
this
think if
film
you
out.
like Shallow Grave and you like Fargo, then you would. Well, you might enjoy this. Maybe not as much as those, but I think you will get something out of it.
Yes. So that was a simple plan, and we hope you enjoyed this video. We'd love to know what you think of it. Obviously, one of us liked it, one of us not so much. Have you seen it, and what did you think of it? Am I the only one out there who didn't like this film? Probably. Because Siskel and Ebert,
Well, they loved it. Yeah.
they
2
loved
thumbs up
it.
from them.
2 thumbs up from them, 1 thumb down from me. So, so if you have seen it, we'd love to know what you thought about it. And if you agree with me, great. Other than that, we're on social media.
Yep, check us out on Twitter and Facebook, and obviously subscribe to the channel.
Oh yeah, and actually, in the last few weeks, we've actually had quite a few subscribers.
Yeah, so join them.
So join them, but thank you also to the ones who have joined us.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great to have you on board. And yeah, thanks. That's good.
And check out some of our other videos. Some links coming up, and come back next week for another one.